So, topic for today.
Yes.
Topic for today is value-oriented work breakdown. I would call it like that. So it's for me, it's kind of the magic behind product ownership and product management. But we have made some experience around how can we create faster value.
Yes.
And I think one of our both learnings from our work together is that it's important how in which situation you are. So it's not one fits all solution, and that you have to analyze your environment. And I think there are a couple of tools that we both used in this scenario, and I would love to discuss and point some of those methods with you. So let's start. So what's important when it comes to breaking down value for your customer? What's your starting point for this?
The starting point is actually a good expression, because first of all, I think we need to figure out where is my product, where is it standing. In which context regarding on, do we exactly know what we want to do, and do we exactly know how we want to do it? And like in these two dimensions, we should think about and try to figure out where are we standing now. And that's the first question we have to answer before we can think about like slicing, cutting, dividing work. So we first have to figure out where we are.
What would be a good tool? What would be a good start when you come to your problem, to your request, to whatever? What do you think? What's a good idea to start with when you observe your product, and how you can go further with your work?
Yes. I would ask the questions: do I already really know what to do, or do I need to figure out what to do? It's like, do I already work with a customer, or is it already a product I've been doing for several years now, and I just want to improve it, or to add some features on it? Or is it something completely new where we don't even know if this will be a product in the end? We don't know if there will be customers at all to buy this. So I would talk about the what we are doing now. Is it very clear to us, or is it very unclear to us? And the next step is to think about, okay, if we have figured out, like, okay, this is a product we've already been working on for a very long time, so the what on the requirements are very clear. So we have to talk about how can we get there. It's about how do we work together, what do we need to get there. If I don't know what the requirements and what it's all about, the product, if I don't know this, it's another level I'm thinking about. So in the one part, you are in an area where you're very certain about the what and how, so you can think about the best solution you can get there. If you don't really know about what we will do and how we will get there, I just need to get the information on that. It's where we are more in the problem area. We need to figure out. We have a lot of questions, we have a lot of risks to take, and a very high uncertainty. And we have to think about what can we do, what experiments could help us to get more in a way, in a more certain situation about our problem. So getting from a problem area to a solution area.
Yeah. The model that we both use or like in this context is the Stacy model.
Yes.
So where you have different areas of where you have a simple problem or a simple issue to solve, and then a more complicated and a complex, and at one point you are in the chaotic and unpredictable space. So you need to deal as a product manager or product owner. You need to deal with products that are in the whole bunch, or that have a majority that could reach through the whole variety of this matrix.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's the first thing that needs to be done, that I'm as a product manager, I know where my product is at the moment and what I need to figure out at the moment? Is it about the solution or is it about the problem?
So this would be kind of a evaluation. Where is the environment of my product? What do I know about the requirements? What do I know about the technology of the product? Am I certain what I shall develop? Am I certain how I shall develop it? Yeah. There's another important aspect, and this is it a new product or new platform, or is it something that is very early in the development process? And this is not completely covered by this matrix, or?
No, it's true. So now we got like an overview, or now when we use the Stacy model, we know what are the requirements. We talked about the technology and how to get there. So now we figured out with Stacy model, we figured out regarding the requirements, regarding the how to get there. We pointed out the position of our product. And now we can use another model to even get another information from this location we just figured out. There we talked about a lot about Simon Wardley's model. He has a model called the Wardley map after him, and it's a method to see where your product is in its own development. So is it something like in a part where you're just thinking about this could be something new, but there's nothing on the market yet, no one knows it yet, or is it something that's already kind of commodity, everyone knows it, and it's like we're not talking about this, it's just clear, it's there, we can use it. And so we get another point of view on our product. And that's something that can combine very, very well, like we talked about, and we made some experiments and saw that it's really worked out to use this both to get a really good location where I am as a product manager with my product.
So based on this evaluation, I think it's now important that you have a different strategy how to break work down. And I personally like to refer to what I call the problem space and the solution space. So you can cut a problem or something on the problem side, so on the requirement side, on what I call the customer side, on this side, or you can cut it in the solution space, like minimum viable products.
Yes.
So smaller product increments and all that. I think there's a difference of where the product is located.
Absolutely. That's why we did this in the first place, to find it out where it's located. And now, as you said, like having the information in which area we need to cut. If we have a high clarity or a high certainty about our product, then I have other thoughts and other goals when it gets to cutting, slicing work. Because if I have a lot of information, I'm very certain. So I need to slice my work in a way that's very effective and very efficient. So we want to have like small parts, value parts that we can already get very, very fast, so we can give it to the customer immediately.
So we cut in the solution space.
Yes.
So we try to make the solution smaller,
yes,
in value delivering increments that are delivered fast, delivered efficient.
Yes. So we get we have a fast return on our investments. If we would do it all in one piece, then it would be like a big bang, but it takes a long time until we get there. So we try to slice it in a way that we can make value faster. So instead of cutting it by the steps we need to take, like first we do just like analyze something, then we create something and afterwards we check something, we try to make small pieces of a little bit of analyzing one part, creating this part, checking this part, and then comes the next part. That's the way we would cut in a solution area.
So this is for problems that are located in a simple or complicated environment. It's more like creating, it's more like developing, it's more like doing. But not probing, but you just execute something.
Because we already know, we're very certain.
You're very certain that you will deliver the right things.
Yes.
And there's the other spot. So there is this
fluffy area.
This foggy area where you run through the fog and not try to hit the
and
wall.
not knowing where to go.
Yeah. And so I think the strategy there is quite different. Can you tell me? So this is where I call, or where I would say it's more important to cut the problem. So to not solve the whole problem at all, because you are not certain what the problem is. Okay, you need to learn about the problem, but you need to find out what's the first problem that you want to solve.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So there are several problems that you want to solve for your customer or yourself. But what's the first one? And what's your idea about that?
I would think about what's the first thing I need to learn to get the next step, and that would be my first problem I try to solve. So what I would do is try to get that question, that problem that I figure it has the most risk in it. So I need to get a grip on the risk, so I can minimize it, and that would be the first problem I would try to solve. And I get this, and then I would think about something I could try, like doing an experiment, because we're still in a foggy environment where we don't know what the answer will be. But we will do an experiment. We'll see what's the outcome, and afterwards I think again, okay, what information did I just get? What did I learn? Did I minimize my risk now? Did I get a little bit smaller? And then I figure or I think about what's the next step to do. Yes, that's actually what I would think would be a good approach there.
Yeah, so it's basically kind of a repetition of the first model, but continuously. So you solve the first problem in small steps.
Yes.
And then when you have earned some certainty about the first problem, you say your product is in a way that you can get feedback from your customer. Your customer get a better idea what he wants or not wants. You have a better idea about risks that are related to this product, about chances that you might miss when you don't do this. And then you go the next steps. So make the problem bigger. Put another problem in that, and then you return this, and you always go like from problem space to solution space and back. Or
yes, you would try to cut the problem and like to get having one problem, having an answer to my experiment, and maybe, as you said, there's a new problem coming out there. We didn't think about that before, and so I try to, with every experiment and everything I learn, with every step I do there, I try to go more in a certain area, to get more away from the problem area, and I try to reach the solution area, step by step.
And I think from a product owner perspective, this is where the agile magic happens, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because you can leave all those problem 5 or 6 items that are not potentially the first item that you have to solve. You can keep in your backlog. You say, okay, this might be something that we want to deal with, but this can change anyhow, and we will learn. So this will change. Okay, so from a product owner standpoint, it's important to understand this. It's important to know this, but it's also important to not give too much value and not too much time in it, because you will learn and it will change anyhow. Yes. But concentrate on the most important problem. Yes. Concentrate on the things that matter now. Find solutions, find them fast, and go the next steps. So
absolutely, that's how I understand agility. That's how I need to react to the information that I got after I did something. So that's why we have this continuously, repeatingly inspecting and adapting, because we need to learn from the information and from the experience we just made, and based on that we figure out what's the next best thing to do. That's why this list of all ideas, all slices we want to do, that's why it changed so much, because we are reacting to, every time we are figuring something out, we are reacting to it. That's the idea of agility.
Yeah, and by the way, just to add this, we are used to talk about this when we talk about products, when we talk about developments and all that. I personally think that even organizational changes work like that.
Oh, absolutely.
Because they are completely in the complex world, and sometimes in the chaotic world. And I think having this mindset also when you try to implement change, when you try to go new paths or new ways in your organization, is also very helpful to break down your problem, to not say, okay, this is the big problem, we are running this
trying
now.
to save the world in one step.
This is my requirement document for the cultural change in my organization. But to just probe and try to figure out
Absolutely.
what helps the organization today, then they will learn, they will develop, and maybe something that helps today will not help tomorrow, and something that does not help today might help tomorrow, because we have learned. So I think this is even more important when it comes to how people work together, how people can find new ways of working in organizations or cultural change.
Yes, I agree. I absolutely agree.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so since we are on this organizational level, I think it's also fair to say that it's not normally an organization does not contain of one product and does not contain of one big change management initiative, but normally our organizations have different products, a variety of products.
Yes, a lot of initiatives, a lot of ideas going around, and a lot of stuff to do.
Yes, so my personal experience is that all those ideas around problem space, solution space, where you're located at a certain level. So this strategic thinking or this operational thinking, to combine this. This is also true for each level or each kind of flight level of your organization.
Absolutely. You need to see, we just talked about the product and how to slice a product and how to prioritize the pieces, what you want to do. But I think then you might it might work for your product for a while, but as a company in general, for the whole business, there needs to be a business agility, meaning you need to get this all together. So there should be like a clear prioritization on the topics we're working on now. So it must be very transparent to everyone. What's our goal? Where do we want to? How do we want to get there? What's the next steps we want to do? And this should be like what we were talking before for organizational change and for products. It should be the same way of getting there. Meaning, like, am I in a part of a solution? So I try to make this in a solution area, or am I still trying to figure out what it is? And I think it comes all together. So we need this not just on a product level or on an organizational change level, but we need to see the whole business together and have a clear point where we know where to go, what's our goal.
Is this kind of the consequence of this digitalized, globalized world in which we live? Because I think the history of our companies, of our products, it was a very stable. So from thinking in the Stacy world, it was like a maximum complicated world. You know, it was clear what we have to do. There were customers; they will buy it anyhow. So there was no chance they take our product or none. But from I think from today's perspective, a lot of companies, even big players, feel like they are under pressure. So they feel like they are tending to get more in this chaotic space.
Yes,
so in this
it feels very chaotic at least. Yeah.
So there's so much competitors in the market, so much technology development,
and influences from all kind of sources coming there.
Yes, and I'm not sure where I got this idea, but I really like this. That when you analyze your today's perspective, so what you feel today, so when you analyze this today, the chaos that you experience today is the commodity of tomorrow. So this is
it's a good expression. It's a very good expression.
This is the situation that we are heading into. So even when a company is not aware of that there might be hyper competition, that there might be kind of a future where they are getting under pressure to develop and be innovative.
Yes.
There will be, of course, somehow this situation.
Yeah.
And I think we are both agreeing that you can name it how you want. But I think if you call it agile or if you call it, I think there's this probe and response thing. So to do experiments, to run kind of an experimental business, and make small little cadences around strategies, around product development, about the marketplace. I think this is something that will be standard in 5 to 10 years. What's your
Absolutely.
What's your
I
experience?
agree. Also the thinking like I have an idea and have a strategy and this is like set for the next year, for the next 3 years, that won't work anymore in the future. It doesn't work anymore today actually. But it's not everyone sees this already. But I think it will be necessary that we get into a mode where it's very normal, feels normal and usual to inspect and adapt, to really like getting information, learning something, making experiments, as you said, and then thinking about, okay, what does this mean for me in my business here, and what do we need to adapt on based on this information, and so it's not like having this one time we change something and then everything is fine for the next 5 years. I mean, it's more like getting into learning that it's a continuously learning, and this is fine, and it will feel very natural, and will be every day's work, and it will be fine.
I think we both like this concept about product ownership.
Yes.
And I think there's a lot of rumor about, I would call it, vocabularies and roles and in these days in this agile community. My personal being a chief product owner for years now, and having a bit of idea what the role is and what the value of this role is. Do you think that product management and product ownership is a one person exercise? Or do you think that there is more behind that?
Very good question. A very intense discussed question between colleagues, you know that. Actually, yes, I think there should be one person who is in charge of a product. That doesn't mean for me that this person has to make every decision, has to know everything about it, but I think there must be one in the lead, and the person needs to know what's the market, what's the customer requests, what's the customer value we want to have, what's the strategy our company have, and does this fit all together. There should be one person in charge. But sure, he or she needs other people to get this information and to make decisions. But yes, I think it's necessary to have one person in charge. That's my experience.
So I think I would maybe from my experience, I would say this person is the one who is responsible for a fast learning of the product.
Yeah.
So he has to understand what's the first thing that we need to learn, and what's the last thing that we need to learn, and what's the first thing that we have to deliver, and what's the last thing that we have to deliver. Who have I to involve into decisions? So who are stakeholders? Who are people who have knowledge about it? And I think the role of a product owner is not just to decide on requirements and to groom a backlog, but to understand the environment in which I'm working, and bringing all people together to fellow decision, explaining decisions, making them transparent in order to ensure that the whole organization can learn from what this team or the organizational structure or whatever has learned. So I think this is the role of a product owner, in my at least in my experience.
Absolutely. Most of the time, or I see a lot, misunderstanding, like saying it's a product owner is a product manager, so someone who prioritizes requirements and reports about the development of the product. But actually, product ownership, and then I need to emphasize the word ownership, meaning that person knows best about the environment of this product, about everything you just said, stakeholders, customers, people in my organization, to get to know the environment of the product very, very well. That's where it came from. And I think that's the main part of it. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Carol.
Yeah, you're welcome. It was fun. Thanks for being part of this.
Yes.